All right. Well, welcome to Spud Lab TV. This is the very first episode of what we hope to be a long, enduring series of programs looking at the versatility and excitement that potatoes can bring to culinary programs. One of the things that we're looking at is how we bring potatoes and introduce them into different types of culinary ideas and recipes that maybe traditionally a potato would not be a part of. But also we'll go back to some of our classics over time and look at ways of bringing potatoes back to life through something that's basic as a baked potato or mashed potatoes, but using different ways of approaching it that may actually create more excitement around the table and around the group of friends that you're working with and creating a dining experience with. Today we have Chef RJ Harvey with me here on my left, and also Chef Aurora Hollenbeck on my right. They're going to take you through all the great things, and they're going to focus on salads today, and more specifically on how a potato can be used in a dressing to not only increase the nutritional benefit of the salad, but make it a creamier, better mouthfeel type of experience for you when you're eating salads or things that include greens and other salad ingredients on your plate. So Chef RJ, Chef Aurora, I'm looking forward to what you guys have to bring to us today. And it's very exciting to launch Spud Lab TV, Spud Lab TV today. Thank you very much. And you guys take it away.
Thanks, Blair. Appreciate it. All right, y'all. So who's ready to cook with some potatoes? We are super stoked. Chef Aurora actually kind of developed these recipes into what we are going to showcase today. There was a TikTok video, I believe, that you found this original idea on. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. There was a trend going on a few months back where people were utilizing potatoes in this new way, mashing them with typical dressing ingredients and creating just a thicker, more nutritious, delicious way to incorporate them into salads and bind things together.
Awesome. And so from there, we took that idea and we thought, well, we've got blenders and other ideas of flavorings and we can add to these dressings. So what if we made one amazing potato dressing and then took it a lot of different ways with different herbs, different flavorings, different vinegars, and then show you how you can use all of those different dressings in a lot of different ways. So we're going to start off with just our potatoes, right? So we're using yellows today, but this dressing can use other types of potatoes. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. You can use russets, you can use reconstituted dehydrated mashed potatoes, as well as reds as well. And they can be skin on or skin off, depending on your preference.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off by cooking these potatoes. You can do this recipe with the peels on, or you can take the peels off. So if you do want to take the peels off, obviously a potato peeler works great, but I always like to use the trusty handy dandy knife. So we're going to cut the top and cut the bottom off. When you can stand it up on end, you just take your knife and run it around the outside here, and that removes our peel. And you wouldn't want to throw these away. You could roast these in the oven, sprinkle them with a little chili lime salt. You've got a really nice appetizer, bar snack. You can even use these as little chips to kind of dip into one of these dressings later if you want. But all we're going to do is just get this to a space where we can then dice our potato. And we just want to dice it into small enough pieces so that it can cook fairly quickly. And then we're just going to drop this into some boiling water. We've got some in the back here. And we're going to cook this until they're fork tender, right, Chef?
Absolutely. It can take around, with that size pieces, 20 minutes max.
And so we're going to go ahead and dice this other one. This one I'm not going to peel, just to show you that you can do this a lot simpler too without having to peel the potato. So give this guy just a little bit of a quick dice. We want them all to be even dices so that they cook at the same time. If you chop some pieces too big and other pieces too small, your potato is going to cook irregularly, and then you're going to have some pieces that aren't done and some pieces that are overcooked. So we always like to make sure our dice is as even as possible. All right. So once these cook and they're fork tender, meaning a fork gets inserted into them pretty easily, we're then going to be able to make our dressings, right, Aurora?
Absolutely. So for our base, it's consistent of about 5 ingredients. So you'd start with your boiled potatoes, a little bit of olive oil, about half a cup, and then 2 tablespoons of shallots or a quarter of a shallot, vinegar or lemon juice, and a bit of salt. And you can blend that or mash it, again, depending on the mouthfeel you prefer. But today that's just to show you the base, and then we're going to move on to how we incorporate new flavors into that.
Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of those base ingredients that Chef talked about. We're going to start off with our potato. This is that fully cooked yellow potato that we had. And again, like Chef said, you can use russets, you can use reconstituted dehydrated potato. And this is really just as simple as dumping it all into the blender and then blending it. So we've got some extra virgin olive oil. You can really use any type of oil, but for dressings, a really nice olive oil just adds a lot more flavor. We also have some garlic, really traditional for a Caesar salad to have garlic in the dressing. We also have a little bit of black pepper. We've got some Dijon. And Chef, do you want to hand me one of those spoons over there so I can scoop this guy out? Thank you. Little Dijon mustard. This is not only going to add nice flavor, but it's also going to add a little bit of saltiness too. Some shallots. And if you don't have shallots or can't find them, you can sub in onions, you can sub in red onion, whatever you like. Now we're going to add in a little bit of anchovy. Now this is really traditional for a Caesar dressing to have anchovy in it, but you do not have to have this in there if you do not want. I know some people are squeamish about anchovy, but you can leave it out. What the anchovy adds is it adds what we call umami. Umami is a 5th flavor sensation that you have on your tongue. So there's sweet, sour, salty, bitter. And then that 5th flavor, umami, is kind of what you get when you have roasted mushrooms, when you have roasted meats, tomatoes, Parmesan cheese. So it just adds a lot of that flavor. And what we're going to do is we're going to add in some salt. We're going to add in some lemon juice for that acidity into our dressing. And then because we want to make this more plant-based, we're going to use what we call nutritional yeast. You don't have to use this. You can just use Parmesan cheese and you're going to be totally fine. We're actually trying to make these all kind of dairy-free. So if you have a dairy allergy or anything like that, this is a great opportunity for you to be able to enjoy a nice dressing. So we're going to go ahead and put that nutritional yeast in there. That kind of gives you that cheesy flavor. But again, you can use Parmesan cheese and there's nothing wrong with that. And then because potatoes are full of starch, we're going to add some water to help thin out our dressing a bit. So this is as easy as dump and go, right? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our lid on our blender. We always want to start our blender off on low speed because if we start off on high speed, you might be wearing your dressing instead of eating it. And so nobody wants to do that. I'm going to start this off and we're just going to get it nice and blended. Slowly increase the speed. And we're going to blend this until we get a nice, smooth, creamy dressing. All right. And there we go. That is our Caesar dressing made straight out of potatoes.
So Chef, one of the arguments people have had over the years about salads and whether salads are as healthy as the image that they have is that we rarely eat salads, just the greens or just the vegetables. We always dump a lot of dressing on this. But from what I was watching right there, it looks like that is a very healthy option for a Caesar dressing.
You know, by putting in the olive oil and choosing, different types of oils, we can also reduce the amount of oils that we're putting in our dressing by using the potato, which is going to obviously decrease the calories. It's going to decrease the fat that's in our dressing. So yeah, I could definitely say that this is going to be something that is probably going to be nutritionally better for you than a traditional dressing that's made with lots of oil and a lot of other highly caloric ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you how to use this, right? Because it's a Caesar. So we're going to put it on a Caesar salad. But the cool thing about Caesar dressing, about a Caesar salad is you don't have to be stuck using traditional bread croutons. In fact, we've used potato croutons here. And so once we have this really creamy dressing, and actually, I'm going to grab one of the spoons real quick. And I think you can either put this into a little side ramekin here, like we have, or you can put it in a fancy squeeze bottle, and you can store this in your fridge for 5 to 7 days. So you can keep coming back to that wonderful dressing you made. But I think what I'm going to do here is just drizzle a little bit of our dressing right over the top. Now, to make those potato croutons, all we did was dice up some russet potatoes, and we seasoned them with a little salt, pepper, and some olive oil, and we roasted them in the oven until they got nice and crispy. They took about 15 minutes at 450 degrees. And now we have this beautiful Caesar salad.
Going to get a close-up of that one, Chef. While we're doing that, there was a question from one of the audience members, and they asked, if we don't want to use lemon juice as part of the ingredient, are there other juices or citrus options that we could use?
Definitely, Chef. Any ideas of what we can use for adding that instead of lemon juice?
Yeah, absolutely. So any sort of acid or citrus would really work. Different types of vinegars, white, red, champagne vinegars would all be fine in this. And if you wanted to change the flavor profile a little bit, you could use probably a lime or anything that has a citrus base to it that will provide that acidic sensation.
Yeah, so
Champagne vinegar with a glass of champagne would be pretty good, probably.
that would actually be perfect. As long as you're having some sort of acidity to cut that oil so that you're balancing out all those flavors on your tongue. So now we've got our potato crouton Caesar salad with our potato Caesar dressing. Now we're going to say, okay, what happens? Can we make a ranch out of a base, out of that potato dressing base? Well, we absolutely can. What we're going to do is we get another blender. And again, this is one of those ones where it is just kind of dump and go, but we're going to do it in 2 stages. We have all these beautiful fresh herbs that are in ranch dressing. And so we don't want to blend those up. Otherwise, we'll turn our dressing green. And actually, this is how we came up with a green goddess recipe for this. We put all the ingredients in here and blended it up. And we realized that, hey, that's a green goddess as long as we add avocado to it. So for the ranch, what we're going to do is we're starting off with a little bit of potato, fully cooked. We're also going to add in some cream cheese. Now, because we're keeping this dairy-free, we're using an almond-based cream cheese, but you can use regular cream cheese just fine. We're going to add in some shallots. We're going to add in some lemon juice. We're going to add in our water, our oil, and we can also add in our dried spices as well at this time. So we're going to add in our mustard powder. We're going to add in our garlic powder, our white pepper, and our onion powder. So these are all traditional seasonings that go into ranch dressing.
So, Chef, as you're doing that, it looks to me like about 50% or maybe even a little more than 50% of the volume of ingredients are potatoes in these dressings.
Absolutely. We wanted to focus in on how could potatoes be the center of attention for this particular dressing recipe. And so we really pushed the envelope for how much potato could go in there. And it gives you that body, it gives you that mouthfeel, it gives you that creaminess. So you can forego other traditional ingredients in a dressing that may add to the fat, may add to excess calories and so forth.
So not only is it healthier, most likely, it's also potentially a lower cost point for people who are into the salad dressing business.
Definitely. You know, oil, the cost of oil has definitely gone up, not only for your vehicles, but also for your cooking. So we're going to blend it. Just till it gets nice and smooth. And you can do this in any blender, really. If you have a high-powered blender like what we have here, it's obviously going to make your dressing that much smoother, but you can still make this in any type of blender that you have at home. So this is our kind of seasoned base for our ranch. Now you have to have fresh herbs in a ranch dressing. So Aurora's going to finish this one off for us.
Absolutely. So now we're going to add some chopped chives, some parsley, and some dried dill, but you can use fresh as well, depending on what you have available. And we're just going to kind of fold those in and mix it all together. And there.
At this stage, if you notice your dressing is looking a little too thick, you can just add some water to it to help thin it out just a little bit. And that'll make it more pourable. Beautiful.
And there we have a ranch dressing.
Maybe we can get a shot of that.
I mean, this is great served with, any type of wings. If you want to serve this on a hot buffalo chicken sandwich, this all works really well. But we're all about the potatoes here, obviously. So we decided to make some buffalo chicken waffle fries that has some celery. It has some carrots on the top. We're going to obviously take a little bit more buffalo sauce and we're just going to drizzle that over the top.
And are those frozen waffle fries?
These are frozen waffle fries. All we did was pop these bad boys in the air fryer, got them nice and crispy, topped them with a little bit of popcorn chicken that we just got at our local market, tossed those with that buffalo sauce that you saw me drizzle, a little bit of carrots, a little bit of celery, and then some crumbled blue cheese. And of course, the blue cheese is optional. We've taken that ranch dressing and we put that into a nice little squeeze bottle. And so we can kind of put this right all over the top. Wonderful ranch dressing made out of potatoes. And as Chef said, if we were to blend this and add avocado, we've got a green goddess dressing as well. So there's a lot of different avenues you can take to make these wonderful dressings made out of potatoes as the base.
We'll have to let our friends at the avocado board know. They were just recently here in our offices, and I'm sure they would enjoy this opportunity to learn how to use potatoes with a dressing as well.
And then I think we've got one more for them, Chef, right?
We do, absolutely. So this one is a tzatziki sauce, and it's going to be a bit different than the other ones. So this one's not going to be blended. Since tzatziki already has a chopped cucumber and some fresh herbs in it, it's already on the chunkier side. So we thought we'd maintain that and just roughly mash the mashed potatoes. And we'll put that in a bowl.
Chef, tzatziki is it's a Greek dressing or spread, correct?
Yes, absolutely. It's typically used on gyros and other fun Greek dishes. We'll add some olive oil in there.
And so since this is a salad, are you using an extra virgin olive oil or a standard olive oil?
Extra virgin olive oil we've been using for all of these. If you have other oils available, like avocado oil or something like that, you can absolutely swap them out for that option. Now we're adding some water.
Typically, we like to cook with regular olive oils, and then we use extra virgin olive oil, which means the first pressing of those olives, it has the most pure olive flavor. We like to use that as a finishing oil. Things like dressings, marinades. It's a great way to introduce more of that pure olive flavor when you're selecting an extra virgin olive oil.
And because we're staying on theme with the dairy-free, we are using a dairy-free Greek yogurt made out of almonds, I believe. But you're more than welcome to use regular Greek yogurt or plain yogurt if that's what you have available. Put that right in there. And now we'll be adding some mint, some dill, some minced garlic, white pepper, some finely diced shallots. Again, you can use other onions if that's what you prefer. Lemon juice, and you can swap that out for different acid if you prefer, and some salt finally. And we're just going to mix that all together.
So Chef, we have another question from our audience today, and they're asking, where can we get these recipes?
So these recipes will be uploaded to potatogoodness.com. It's a great location for you to find all of the fabulous recipes that we have been creating here in the Spud Lab. And one of the great things that you can find in addition to the recipes on potatogoodness.com is you can find all the nutritional information for these recipes as well. So by the end of the week or by early next week, you should be able to see these 3 dressing recipes uploaded to our website. And then from there, we'll continue to create more and fun, interesting dressings using potatoes as a base. I'm already thinking in my head, you know, this can go any route. We can make a blue cheese flavored dressing. We can do, you know, a black peppercorn and Parmesan cheese dressing. Like this could be a lot of fun because with potatoes having that neutral flavor, we can really take the flavors any way we want with this. So definitely check out potatogoodness.com for these recipes, as well as all the other great ones that we create here in the Spud Lab. And so Aurora just mixed up this wonderful tzatziki. You can see how chunky it is. It's got all those wonderful herbs in there, the cucumber, the shallots, of course, the potatoes. Now, one of the best applications for using a tzatziki is a chicken shawarma. So we have a chicken shawarma pita here. We just roasted off some chicken thighs with a little bit of shawarma spice. And then what we did is we put on some tomatoes and some cucumber.
Wow, that looks fantastic.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then we've, of course, serving that with a big basket full of some crispy fries that we did in our air fryer. You want to hand me one of those spoons, Chef, and we'll go ahead and spoon this up. Now you could put this on the shawarma sandwich directly, spread it on the inside of that pita, or you can serve some off to the side and let your guests put on as little or as much as they want. It also makes a great dip for these fries. So we've got that in there. It looks gorgeous. And again, you can package this up, put this into your fridge, and it'll last for 3 or 4 days with all these other fresh veggies in here. This one has a little bit shorter shelf life than, say, some of the other blended dressings that don't have all the fresh cucumber and fresh herbs and so forth.
So Chef, we did have another question about shelf life. Is there a difference in the shelf life of these dressings from a traditional non-potato based dressing?
So one of the things is we haven't put in a lot of the preservatives that you may see in a bottled dressing from the grocery store. So these will have a little bit shorter shelf life. Anytime you make something fresh at home, that shelf life is just innately going to be a little bit shorter. So where your bottled dressings that you normally purchase from the market will last in your fridge for up to 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks sometimes, these will have less than a week short shelf life. But you'll have all that fresh flavor in there. And so when you're tasting something that is so good, you'll want to make it more often anyway. And as you saw, this takes a matter of minutes to throw together. So there should be no reason why you're not making these wonderful dressings at home. All right. So we've got 3 wonderful applications here. You saw it with our chicken shawarma with the potato tzatziki dressing. Then Chef, we got our
buffalo chicken and waffle fries with blue cheese crumbles and whatnot. And we also have our Caesar salad with potato croutons.
Fantastic, Chef Aurora, Chef RJ, congratulations. These are some wonderful dishes. I'm going to jump back in here with you guys as we wrap up here today. But what a great first episode of Spud Lab TV. I hope everyone's able to join us again as we continue this journey. We're going to look at some great opportunities around the holiday period with some traditional recipes and how we can use potatoes in new and innovative ways at Thanksgiving and other holiday meals. And then also around the new year as people are looking at coming into the year and getting energized about getting healthy and getting back in shape. We're going to bring some new ideas there as well. And then maybe even some of the other holidays like St. Patrick's Day, where hopefully we focus on something that's a little more, sticks to your gut type thing, like a shepherd's pie or a lamb stew. I mean, that would be a lot of fun. I think that'd be some good stuff. These guys are going to have some great episodes coming forward. We're looking forward to joining up with you guys again. Please send any questions or any requests. If you have any special recipes you'd like us to look at, we'll take them into consideration. But for now, thank you very much and have a great week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
Okay.